Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, paint the perfect sky. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Jump in, and we don't know where we'll end up. You might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Life's what you make it. Life's what you make it. It's yours for the taking. It's yours for the taking. You can test the water, might as well jump in. And we don't know where we'll end up, you might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Life's what you make it. It's yours for the taking. Go and write your own song. All the world will sing along. And when you find your melody, we'll join in harmony. Life's what you make it. Life's what you make it. Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Life's what you make it. Life's what you make it. It's yours for the taking. Go and write your own song. All the world will sing along. When you find your melody, we'll join in harmony. Life's what you make it. Life's what you make it.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Arla Gustafson, CEO of the Royal University Hospital Foundation. I'm very honored to be your host for this evening. As we are gathered here today, we acknowledge we are on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. Thank you for joining us for Royal University Hospital Foundation's 21st Donor Grand Rounds and our first ever virtual Donor Grand Rounds. Thank you for adapting with us as we find ways to stay safe and stay connected. For those who have not attended one of our Donor Grand Rounds, I'd like to offer you some background. In medicine, Grand Rounds have a long tradition within a hospital setting and serve as an opportunity for physicians, residents, and students to learn about a particular case or an aspect of medicine. Donor Grand Rounds is an opportunity for our foundation to share an exclusive access experience showcasing innovation in patient care, education, technology, or research at Royal University Hospital. It is our way of saying thank you to you as donors and to give you a behind-the-scenes sneak peek. Tonight, you will hear from a number of our critical OR team members who will walk us through the operating rooms at Royal University Hospital. You will also hear from grateful patients regarding their surgical experience. As you watch, please feel free to send comments and questions through the YouTube chat room found on the right side of the screen. Throughout the video, Dr. Brian Ulmer, Interim Provincial Head, Department of Surgery, and I will answer your questions. At the end of the video, we remain online to answer other questions for approximately 20 minutes. Dr. Ivar Mendez, Provincial Head of Surgery, will soon begin your tour, and you will hear him comment on our amazing surgical teams, the outdated space they are working in, and why transforming the ORs on the ground floor of RUH will result in more positive patient outcomes. On that note, I'd like to introduce you to Karsten Felsky, who has a harrowing story to tell about how he ended up at Royal University Hospital and in the OR.
I guess we're visiting some family just outside of town, and my parents were in the vehicle as well. My father was driving. I was in the back seat with my wife and 1-year-old at the time, and fortunately we hit some ice and slid through the intersection. We hit the ditch. It was really unfortunate. That being said, everybody seemed to come unscathed except myself. I was in the back seat, and I don't know, just logistics, being a taller guy. I took a back injury. I broke my T12, actually a burst fracture, which was kind of a freak accident given everything, but a major incident and something that's, I guess, been a fairly big challenge for myself.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And as you know, we're in a difficult time for healthcare for all of us, and this is really the time where we really see the value of having all these individuals that are part of our healthcare teams, and they're really at the forefront as we are battling the pandemic and the second wave, which is being a huge burden for us now. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to acknowledge Dr. Brian Ulmer. Dr. Ulmer, who is a senior, a very respected surgeon, well known to many in Saskatchewan. He has been the ADL, which is called the Area Department Lead. He really runs the day-to-day operations of Saskatoon, and he's been very busy doing that. There's fires all the time, and he will be taking my place during the time I'm in the humanitarian mission down in South America. So you'll be seeing Dr. Ulmer during this next 6 months. And then what I will do is we'll just start here and then show you a few areas of the operating room. So this is a really important place to start, because this is what we call the holding area. And the holding area is where the patient comes to wait to be brought into the operating theater. So this is really what the patient sees, a as the first stage of their operation. And you can see these curtains here. They divide where the patients are. And the patient is brought here from the area where they register. And then the patient waits either on a chair or in a stretcher for the surgical team to come and interview the patient. The surgeon usually talks to the patient. They get their consent, and the anesthetist comes, the nurses come, and once all that is done, then the patient is brought to the operating room. So in the operating room, of course, is not the operating theater itself, where the surgeons and the surgical team are performing a surgical procedure, but it's really the whole complex. And I feel personally that this room, the holding room, is the first impression of the patient to what is going to happen in the operating room, where he meets for the first time the surgical team, and of course contemplates their surgical procedure on themselves. When I came to Saskatchewan 7 years ago, I met Arla Gustafsson from the foundation, and she was critical in providing the resources to start a true national and international program in our area of specialty, which was in neuromodulation. And at that time, we were one of the few programs in the world to have that. And some of my patients, and I remember well, being called at 11 o'clock at night from the registration area where a patient was coming to have the surgery the next day. And the person on the other side of the phone says, well, there's this patient from Toronto. And I think there's a mistake. You know, why would somebody from Toronto come to have their surgery here in Saskatoon? And when that individual came, you know, the first thing that they saw is this room, the holding room. And that, although it is kind of a nice holding room now because it's empty, but you have to come at 7 o'clock in the morning here, and this is bustling. You know, there's all these patients and all these cubicles. There's a lot of people. And I feel that the holding room has to be an area that really reflects what's going to happen in the operating room. You want to have the patient feel that they are in an environment where they will get the best surgery in the world. In this initiative of renovating the operating rooms and bringing them to the operating rooms of the future has to start with the holding room. And I wanted you to see it well, because I think this is where the whole thing starts.
Yeah, it was I guess just a little unfortunate at the time. They were busy. I guess maybe some other accidents again with the mild weather and the icy roads. But yeah, I came in there not knowing if I was basically going to walk, and I seen the specialist there at neurology, Dr. Forney, and he had explained to me, you know, the circumstances. And yeah, unfortunately, I was in bed rest for 5 days waiting for my turn in the operating and surgery room, just because of overcapacity, and they didn't have room for me. So you can just imagine spending that time thinking what your future is going to be. And
these ancillary rooms are as crucial as for us and for the patient as what we do in the operating room. So this is how you will enter the operating room. You will be in one of these stretchers, or you'll be walking, and if you are ambulatory, and then they will bring you to the operating room. These things that you see here are lead aprons that the surgeons use because they use X-ray machines inside the operating room, and they need this for protection. There's different colors. I think there's for girls and for boys, but but I know that the boys also use that.
Yes, they look very cute.
Yes. So these are the sinks as well. And this is something that we changed as well when I came to get new sinks. They seem to be like a simple area, but it's an important area because it's not only important because the surgeon is washing their hands, because it is the time where the surgeon is reflecting about the surgical procedure. You know, these few moments when you're washing your hands, you're basically alone. You're not talking to anybody. You're washing your hands, but you're thinking about what you're going to be doing in the surgical procedure. And I don't know if Brian can comment on that, but it's a special moment for the surgeon. It is a little bit of like a ritual, not only the practical aspect of cleaning your hands, but it's you're then going to enter the theater where you're going to perform the surgical procedure. So we wanted to have good, nice sinks, which are as important as everything we do.
So Theater 9 is where we do our cardiac surgery, so we open heart program.
Yeah, come in, please. There's nothing sterile here, so you don't worry about if you rub anything. This is as Anne-Marie says, this is the cardiac room. This is where our surgeons perform open heart surgery, and the room is being prepared for tomorrow's cases. So the first thing that you will notice is that it has a lot of equipment. This is the heart lung machine that is connected to the patient when the heart stops. So this is actually the machine that oxygenates the blood, and is really the heart while the patient is being operated, and the surgeons are operating in a heart that's stopped. So what I wanted to tell you about not only this room, but all of the rooms is that the type of surgical care is given by, of course, not the equipment and the environment, but it's given by the surgical team. And what you want, of course, is to have the best surgical care possible. If somebody's going to open your heart, you want them to be the best surgeon possible. If somebody's going to open your head and is going to operate in your brain, you want that individual to be at the top of their game. So now we're going to go to another room, and I want to show you the size of the rooms that should be the ones that we have. I think this room is too small for the cardiac surgeons, but they can still perform their surgical procedures safely, but we need to have something even better than that.
So how many people would be part of the surgery tomorrow?
Anne-Marie, how many people will be here?
So you have your intensivist and your anesthesia assistant, possibly an anesthesia resident. You've got your perfusionist, you've got your surgeon, and your surgical assist. And I think there's 2 additional surgeons in seats. I think we have a registered nurse first assist, and there's also usually an assist there. So I think I'm at 7 now, plus a scrub nurse and 2 circulating nurses. So you've got 10 people minimum.
So how many are we here? We're almost the team.
Four extras.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, some of the equipment, like it's all pushed to the walls right now, but then you've got to have all those people and the equipment comes in, and it actually gets, well, there's room right now. It's actually quite difficult to maneuver around the room because you've got your heart-lung machine, which right now is running parallel to the wall, but you're shifting it 90 degrees, and all of a sudden you can't walk back and forth along this side because that's when you don't want to trip on a cord. And so then you've got just a small channel or pathway that ends up along here.
Yes. So you can imagine, I think, this is like a bustling room.
And this is not a short surgery.
No, usually you probably last 6 hours for average case, yes? Yeah. What we're trying to say is that whatever we do, the equipment that we have, the surgical teams that we have, go directly into benefits of our patients. We want to have the best teams, the best surgical procedures at home. We don't need you to send it to Toronto or Montreal or Calgary. We need to be able to provide that service here in Saskatchewan.
Okay, so this room still needs to be clean.
Yeah.
This is our largest room here.
Yeah. So yeah, this room is just being used, but this is the size of room that we need. This is a room that will allow us to bring the appropriate equipment, the intraoperative imaging and all that. So I just want to show you kind of the size of this room. And this is just being cleaned, yeah. This is a surgical microscope that we use to operate. I use that room most of the times because we, again, with the generous support of the foundation, we have acquired this special machine that is called the O-arm. And you can imagine, you know, this is a huge machine that it kind of lives here in this corner, but this has to come to the operating room. And we use this to image the brain. It is a state-of-the-art machine. We were the first ones in Canada to have it. And this was important for our neuromodulation program, where we put these special electrodes and computer systems into the brain to treat Parkinson's disease and depression and things like that. So this is one of these systems, and that has to come to the operating room. And that table is special, and the reason it is special is because you can imagine an X-ray machine. If there's metal and you're imaging the brain, you may image the metal. You won't see what you want to see. This table, the whole table itself, is made of carbon fiber. And those things are expensive. This is about $100,000.
It is $100,000.
Yeah, and it's it is. These are the types of systems that we need to do our job. No, what we want is just the appropriate tools to do our job. This is, you know, nowadays I'm a huge proponent of technology, and you know, we have certain programs here that are unique, but you know, nowadays nobody will use actually a paper map to navigate, right? Although it was useful in the past, it took longer. You get lost. GPS is not infallible 100%. You can get lost still, but it's really the way to go. This is the same thing with anything we do in surgery. You know, we have new technologies and we need to have them. We have the opportunity to design and have input into what a modern operating room looks like. And of course, what we envision for the future for the RUH is even something that even goes beyond the time. You know, hospitals are only built every 50 to 100 years. So what we do now in the operating rooms at RUH is going to be a legacy for decades. So this is a modern operating theater. The first thing that you can see is the size of the place. We designed this room, and it's called an integrated room. Why is it called an integrated room? It's integrated because all the communications and data are available. That's why it has so many screens everywhere. So the surgeon actually, these things, they put these sleeves for to be sterilized, and the surgeon can move these screens wherever they want. And what the surgeon wants is they want to see as much data as possible as they're performing the surgical procedure. They want to see the X-rays, the imaging, the MRIs, the cardiac data. They want to see the laboratory work. So all the information is integrated into the moment to help the surgeon at the moment of the surgical procedure. There's no point of getting the nurse to look at the chart, or if you don't have the right data at the right time. Once the surgical procedure is over, it may not be relevant, or may be very relevant, but you didn't know it. So that's what we call an integrated room. it integrates information, and information is given to the surgeon in real time. So they are able to perform more complex surgical procedures, safer for the patient. And this is really what we want to build at the RUH. And what we build is going to be even more sophisticated than this, because there's more technology that is even coming. These integrated rooms allow us, for example, to have a mentoring. If I have a difficult case and I want my colleague, Dr. Ulmer, to give me a hand, and he may be in Toronto, I can call him and he can actually beam through the system and see what I'm doing, and we can consult in real time. This is really the value of integration. And so this is kind of to give you a flavor of what the modern operating room looks like. Anything you want to add, Brian? Sorry.
No, I was just telling when we were in the operating theater, one of the other beauties of the integrated system is it's all modular, so it can all be replaced or upgraded. And the other part of this is the academic part. So mentioned that someone could be in Istanbul and be brought in live, but also you can teach medical students. So there's cameras built in, and so they can monitor on the walls, and you can direct teaching that way, which is very, very good. So it integrates not only for modules of care, but also from an academic perspective as well.
Dr. Mendez, one of the visions, whether it happens or not, is a hybrid OR. Can you explain briefly why that would be important for our trauma program?
Yeah, you said the donut, right? You seen that donut?
Yeah, yeah.
So that donut is a CT scanner, and so a hybrid operating room, instead of having the donut outside the operating room, it is actually built inside the operating room. So some of these can be put onto the railings on the floor, and when you need the system, instead of bringing it up and having to navigate a tight operating room, it just comes to you. It's integrated with imaging, and Dr. Ulmer knows a lot about this because in his specialty, doing these procedures that are minimally invasive endovascular procedures where you don't have to open the whole abdomen, but you can reach an artery through the vein, needs this imaging. Brian, you want to just talk a little bit about it?
And so you would have built in as modules the X-ray, special X-ray equipment. So if you went into the operating theater, you would see that donut as part of the operating table. So it's just another module that's integrated into the system. Yeah.
And how would that change care?
Well,
So right versus right now.
A lot of the care now, not every service has a hybrid suite, but what it really changes is it's less invasive care. And so things that we would do, for example, there's a thing known as a repair of an aneurysm. So that surgery, you would go home the following day, as opposed to spending 2 days in the intensive care unit and another 4 or 5 days on the floor. So this newer technology is certainly helping in that way as well.
You can imagine, I've been around the world and I've seen many institutions, but you can imagine that the new working systems will have robotic systems that will be able to bring whatever you need. So you can imagine that the basement will actually be where the equipment is, and a robotic car will bring the equipment that you need because it will know it. You have to go to one of the Amazon's storage facilities. It is fantastic. When you buy a book, people are not looking where the book is. The robot actually goes and finds the aisle and brings the book and ships it. So the same thing would happen. You can imagine this basement where all the equipment will be storage, and then you call for a piece of equipment. You have an elevator that will bring with a robotic system that will bring it to the door of the operating room that is needed. And the time will be less, it will be more accurate, and will actually take less space. So all these things are happening now. And the other thing that I will tell you at that time is that when I came, the family room is also such an important area, because this is where your family are waiting to have the patient come out of the operating room. And at that time, I was surprised because the family room really didn't look that great. And I was concerned myself to say, well, you know, if I was a family of a patient and I sit in this family room, you know, I don't know. I may get more nervous because I don't know if it looks like this. I wonder how it looks inside. And this is one of the first things that Arla and us and Anne-Marie was crucial in this. We renovated the family room. So this is the family room, and this is the first thing that we renovated. And this is where the families wait for the loved ones while they're having surgery. So although we didn't change the space, what we wanted is we wanted to have a room, first of all, where the families could get information. And this is kind of one of the unique things of Saskatchewan that may not be there in many other places. So in this board, you have the names of the patients or the operating theaters, and you know when the operation has started and when is it finished. That piece of information on when the operation has started and when has it finished is crucial while you're waiting for your family one. And so that's what we put. So there's an information board here, and everybody can be watching that and seeing what happened. Yeah, a code for each patient. Of course, you don't have but you know who is your relative and what's happening in the operating room. So the other thing that we did is we put some art here, good chairs so people can just stay here.
I hope you are enjoying your tour so far. I am fascinated every time I see the life-saving surgery being done right here at Royal University Hospital and how it benefits everyone in Saskatchewan and beyond. Dr. Mendez, Ulmer, and Anne-Marie Duwert, manager of the operating rooms at RUH, have shared some interesting facts about our OR and how we envision the capital improvements will change the patient experience. I am happy to share Karsten's outcome with you now. You will also hear from his surgeon, Dr. Daryl Fournier, and another surgical patient, Greg Keller. Please stick around as we wrap up our virtual tour so you can learn more about Mission Possible, Operation New OR, and the plan for the future.
Yeah, after surgery, it's been a long road, but I guess everything's been successful. I mean, I was millimeters away from not walking again, and I think five days after operation, I was able to stand up under some support, and to this day, I'm walking around now. Obviously, not quite what I used to be, but you know, I'm able to raise my family and get on with life, and like I said, kind of a second chance per se, and I really can't thank the doctors and all the staff at RUH enough for giving me a second chance. Personally, I can't think of a better way to raise money. You know, it stays in your community, and for a guy like me or anybody, you know, it gives you a second chance, and you get that opportunity. You know, and the skilled professionals have the best tools and the right technology and the right space, and I guess just the things they can do. I don't know if you can even put a price on it, really.
You know, I don't have that good a memory of it, but because I was only probably awake for about 5 or 10 minutes when they got me in there. But I do remember that it was crowded not only with equipment, but of course, you know, with all the staff, the surgeons and the medical staff that were in there. I asked them how many were in there, and there was probably close to a dozen for this particular procedure. And yeah, it's cramped with all the equipment, you know, on the floor and all the people scrambling to provide the care they need to.
And individuals at the top of their game are individuals that usually are demanding. You cannot have an individual on the top of their game and don't give him or her the tools to be able to perform their surgery and do what they need to do. You know, if they don't have the right tools, they may have tremendous knowledge and be tremendously talented, but they won't be able to do and perform at the best of their ability. And what we want here in Saskatchewan is we want to have the best surgeons in the world. We want to be able to attract these individuals that are at the top of their game. And individuals at the top of their game do not come to places where they don't have the tools. They don't come to places where there's not the environment on which they will actually develop their full potential. And I think this campaign is about that. It is about to able to provide the environment and the tools and the equipment and the physical space to have the top surgeons in the world not only wanting to come here and perform surgery, but to be able to provide the population of our province and our city the best surgical care possible. And one of the really interesting things is about having teams that are at the top of their game is that they are like honey. They attract more people that are at the top of their game because you want to be in a place where you can collaborate with these tremendous talented individuals, learn from them, be able to be prepared to do what you need to do and be able to develop and fulfill your whole potential. That is, I think, what we're trying to accomplish here. We're trying to have the environment and the tools to be able to have the best surgical teams and to be able to provide the best care possible. So this room is adequate. You can actually perform cardiac surgery. You have all the equipment that you need. But really, an individual that may be trained somewhere else and we want to bring, because Dr. Ulmer and I constantly recruit surgeons. And we've been very lucky. Over the past 5 years, our department has been the fastest growing department in the country, where we have hired over the past 5 years in Saskatchewan over 180 surgeons. It's incredible to believe that 180 people have come over the past 5 years, more than anywhere else in Canada. And one of the things that we always struggle is to show them where they're going to work. When you're going to work in a place, one of the first things that you want to see is, well, you want to know where you're going to work. How's your office look? That you're going to have computers. What about your secretaries or whatever? So we need to show them where they're going to work. And although this room has all the equipment that is necessary to perform safe cardiac surgeries, it's not comparable to some other places. And we want to be able to attract these individuals by having, it's not that you need to have a Cadillac or a Rolls Royce and go into luxury. You want to have all the appropriate tools and the tools that are at the age of technology, because that makes a difference in terms of your surgical procedures.
I'm most proud of the quality of care that we provide. I think we really provide the best quality neurosurgical care that you can get anywhere in the world here. And I'm just so thrilled to be part of that team. So many things that we've developed over the years. This program has come so far in the last 20 years in being able to offer all kinds of things: endovascular surgery, epilepsy surgery, functional neurosurgery, minimally invasive spine surgery. We've really grown from a small kind of little neurosurgical center on the prairie to basically there's very few neurosurgical procedures that are not available in Saskatchewan now because of the work that's been done over the years developing this program. So I'm number one proud of that. Proud of our accomplishments teaching young doctors to be world-class neurosurgeons. I was a program director for years, 10 years. We've trained top quality people that have gone on and done the same kind of work in other places and developed programs in other places in the world. So many things. Those are just the top two. Well, I think you never know when you're going to need surgery, you or a loved one. We treat so many people. I mean, we're one of the busiest places in Saskatchewan doing this kind of work. We do all the neurosurgery is done at Royal University Hospital, the cardiothoracic surgery, the trauma, a lot of the severe trauma that comes in, it all comes out RUH. So you never know when you're going to need us. A lot of cancer surgery. You know, it's a provincial resource, and I wish you could see what I get to see every day in terms of how we're able to help people. It's so gratifying what we do, but we need to have the best. You know, we've got really good people, but what puts us over the top is when we can deliver that care with really top quality equipment. And I think the drive right now to improve the operating room suites is going to be a huge benefit to the people of this province, particularly here in Saskatoon, but on a provincial level, because there's so many specialty surgeries that are done here at RUH that this is the only place in the whole province that does it.
Well, I think there's if it saves one life with the improvement, what's that life worth, right? If it saves one life, so it's a matter of, yes, they could get by with what they have, but it's also in that one instance where it would have made a difference to one person's life. Just think about what that would mean to that family, right? I know if it would have been, you know, my family or my brothers, it would have been devastating to lose somebody because the proper equipment wasn't available.
Thank you for letting us into your homes tonight as we virtually toured the operating rooms. While Dr. Ulmer continues to answer your questions on the message board, I will provide some more information about Mission Possible, Operation New OR. As you have learned, the RUH operating rooms are 43 years old and in need of a transformation. RUH's current operating rooms opened in 1978, and since that time, only minor upgrades like the lights and flooring were made in 2009, thanks to generous donor support of our then Royal Care campaign. We have the expertise at RUH. What we need are state-of-the-art facilities and equipment so the people of Saskatchewan have the world's best surgical care right here at home. Over the next 2 years, with donor support, the goal is to raise $20 million to transform surgical care at RUH. This transformation will encompass 4 main areas: audio, video, lighting, HVAC, and specialized equipment controls from one place and integrated to allow seamless communication. New technology mounted on booms or on walls will make the rooms easier to clean and provide surgical teams with much needed space to move. And thanks to the latest robotics, surgeons will soon have even greater accuracy, flexibility, and control during procedures. Imagine the impact on our surgical teams and their patients, in particular for the 888 patients last year who had surgeries that lasted from 4 to 8 hours. RUH will also be equipped with the first hybrid surgical suite in Saskatchewan, at twice the size and 3 times the capacity of a standard operating room. At a time when the COVID-19 pandemic has forced the delay of non-urgent surgeries, causing a potential 2 or more year backlog, this is good news. This hybrid surgical suite will allow multiple surgeons and specialists to work on critically injured or complex patients at the same time. When every second counts, having a hybrid OR will free up other ORs and help save lives. As mentioned by Dr. Mendez, the OR transformation will see the complete renovation of recovery and waiting spaces. No more sharing a pre- or a post-op space with strangers. The privacy and comfort of surgical patients and their families when what they need and want is on its way. We have the expertise at Royal University Hospital. What we need are the state-of-the-art facilities and equipment to make it possible. Saskatchewan people will come together to build a world center of surgical excellence. Thank you to everyone who helped plan this tour and to pivot to this digital event. I hope you enjoyed the experience. And thank you for joining us. As donors and critical friends, your generous support will save lives. We cannot say thank you often enough for your generosity. I know that you are passionate about healthcare, and you want to ensure that our hospital, our city, and province is a leader in patient care, research, and education. You are truly loyal donors to our foundation, or you wouldn't have taken the time out of your busy lives to join us tonight. Again, thank you. Your feedback is important to us as well, and it will help us plan future donor grand rounds. Please be sure to complete your survey and send it to us. If you have more questions, please contact us by email at info@ruhf.org or call me at 306-655-1984. Thank you and good night.
Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, paint the perfect sky. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Jump in, and we don't know where we'll end up. You might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, paint the perfect sky. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. It's your Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Life's what you